we get near the end. Thank you, Michael.
Sure, thanks, Jenny. Just to clarify, my name's Michael Barry. I'm Senior Manager for Economy and Place at Cumbria County Council, which picks up transport strategy. So in terms of, this is my presentation today. It's just a quick verbal update, really, and it just describes some of the things the County Council is doing in Barrow around transport decarbonisation. And I should say that in Cumbria, the County Council is the local transport authority, and and we have responsibility for maintaining our road network, or albeit that not controlled by national highways, together with the rights-of-way network and homeschool transport. We also have a role in working with partners to make the case for investment in improving infrastructure across the county. Supporting our activity, we've been working with Cumbria Local Enterprise Partnership to prepare a new transport plan called the Cumbria Transport Infrastructure Plan. This really seeks to make the case for investment in Cumbria's infrastructure with a real emphasis on supporting integrated and resilient connectivity, both locally but also across our quite extensive geography. And with that, the role of connectivity in supporting opportunities for communities, economy and places. And in doing this, it promotes three broad objectives around clean, healthy, connected and community Cumbria. And in a nutshell, clean and healthy Cumbria is about really promoting the role of walking and cycling and digital infrastructure in supporting the local economy, in supporting health and well-being, and in helping to achieve the decarbonisation of transport networks. Connected Cumbria is focused on promoting improved transport networks across and into Cumbria, helping to support economic growth, but importantly, inclusive economic growth in some of the areas of deprivation along our coast, and then with that, opportunities for communities and businesses. And thirdly, Community Cumbria, which is really about supporting joined up approaches to transport networks that are affordable and that can meet the access needs of all. So fundamentally, it's seeking secure investment for better infrastructure in the county, and that's important when we look at how transport's funded at the moment. And so while we're looking to make the case for connectivity, cutting across all this is a drive to secure the decarbonisation of transport networks and a steady approach to achieving that. And around this, the plan identifies the importance of providing attractive infrastructure that embraces new technologies with a focus on innovation, and in particular, the role of improved bus and rail services, walking and cycling, digital connectivity, and zero emissions vehicles. In terms of Barrow itself and the decarbonisation, the town does have some real opportunities. The town of Barrow are quite compact, in Cumbrian terms, relatively flat, and it does have a number of very large destinations in which journeys can be focused. And that includes the town centre, the college, schools, hospital, but also BAE, of course. And I think that's reflected in some of the stats, which show that already 64% of people in Barrow and Furness travel less than 5 kilometres to work. That compares to a national average of 35%. And 42% of children in Barrow and Furness walk to school compared to a national average of 11%. And we're kind of reflecting that too, and probably some of these attributes. 5% of people in Barrow cycle to work, which compares to a national average of 3%. And on cycling, Barrow does have a real history and pedigree, if you will. There's some fantastic images we've seen of large groups of cyclists arriving at the shipyard during the 1950s. Now, the council is in the process of finalising a plan for improved cycling walking infrastructure in the town. It's a plan called a local cycling walking infrastructure plan. What this seeks to do is set out a clear pipeline of schemes for which the delivery funding may be. We have to seek this funding, unfortunately, we don't have it, but we need a plan to set out the case for that investment. And supporting this aspiration, there is already things happening. In February, we'll be delivering a new safe cycling route through Barrow Island between Jubilee Bridge and Schneider Square roundabout, and that's via Bridge Street. And that's been using funding we secured through a competitive bid to DFT. And the council is also in the process of securing £4 million of further investment through the Barrow Town deal for the delivery of additional routes along Abbey Road, Roos Road and Hindpool Road, with these largely being developed through the reuse of existing road space. Outside of the town, but relevant, we are also in the process of developing a series of long-distance corridors across the county. And the approach to development of these is set out within the Transport Infrastructure Plan, which I referred to earlier on, which is still in draft. In Barrow itself, buses are seen as really important. In Cumbria and Barrow is no different. The majority of services are provided by Stagecoach. And mindful of the need to improve services, but also decarbonise our bus network. In 2020, the council submitted an application to DfT for Barrow to become the first town in the country to have a completely electrified bus fleet.
Did you say DfT, Michael?
DfT, yes.
Did you say what
Transport.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, the Department of Transport. And unfortunately, that bid was unsuccessful. But we still retain aspirations to decarbonise buses around the county, and that's reflected in the new bus improvement plan, which sets out a vision for our networks and support its implementation. We're establishing what's called an enhanced partnership, which will bring together the public sector and bus operators to explore how we can work together to try and improve bus infrastructure across the county. And supporting this,
just under a couple of minutes left, Michael. Sorry.
Grand, I'll be okay, I think. Supporting this, you'll have probably picked up in the local press about Barrow Borough Council's successful bid for the refurbishment of Barrow Market. And the Barrow Market element's fantastic in itself, but actually the proposal includes also the creation of a new bus interchange area between the market and town hall. And the idea of that is to bring buses closer to the town centre, but also to support that permeability from buses onto the high street. So it's good for town centre, good for active and sustainable travel choices. And we are also developing with Network Rail, or working with Network Rail on the development of business cases to improve the coming coastline viability capacity. And we continue to press for improvements to the Furness line, in particular, improve services towards Manchester. In terms of the decarbonisation of road travel, we are currently working with a number of partners across the county to support the rollout of charging infrastructure. We're mindful that many parts of the county are not well provisioned, and we are aware too that particularly in rural areas, market failure could be a constraint in the future. Market failure, I mean the lack of viable private sector investment. And we're also looking to improve pinch points in the network, which is to reduce queuing traffic and with that emissions. Now, I think transport funding at the moment in Cumbria and most of the country is reliant on investment from central government. We generally have to bid for funding, which is challenging, but we don't have all the levers locally. And you'll have probably noticed that some bids were successful with investment secured, some have been unsuccessful, which investment hasn't been secured. And we'll continue to try to develop proposals and secure investment, but obviously, as I said, there's risks in that. And I think that also reflects probably the challenge about decarbonisation, and that to secure the investment, it can't happen overnight, but we are trying to make steady progress towards that, and that's been a real focus for us over the past few years. That's me done. I hope I'm not overrun.
No,
thanks very much.
Great.